If you have a crescent moon or the letter M on your palm, stop scrolling. This is not a coincidence. This is your wake-up call. What you carry is not just a mark, it's a message, a silent whisper from the divine, telling you it's time to rise, time to listen, and time to act. This is not about superstition. This is about unlocking the power already hidden within you. So don't look away, don't doubt, watch closely, because once you understand what this really means, your life will never be the same again. There are signs in this world that speak to you long before any word is ever spoken. These signs are not read with the eyes alone. They are absorbed with presence, interpreted through awareness, and confirmed by the resonance they create within your spirit. One such sign is carried not in the sky, but in the quiet lines of your own hand. Some of you, if you look closely, will find a crescent moon etched into the base of your palm. Others will find an unmistakable M, formed by the convergence of fate lines and heart lines. These are not random carvings of nature. These are invitations. When people first discover the crescent moon, or the M, on their palm, their instinct is often to feel special, chosen, or unique. The mind immediately races to attach meaning, to seek external validation for what feels like a rare mark. But true wisdom begins where vanity ends. These signs are not trophies. They are not decorations to show off. They are subtle, silent reminders of an internal path that very few are willing to walk. To carry such a sign is not to be elevated above others. It is to be summoned into deeper service, deeper discipline, and deeper responsibility. You are not selected to be admired. You are called to be refined. What is placed upon the body often reflects what is waiting to be awakened within the soul. The crescent moon is not a symbol of decoration. It is the blade of perception, the sharp edge of intuition, the curve of stillness that reflects only the light you are ready to hold. The M, where the key lines of life, heart, and mind intersect, is not about destiny being handed to you. It is about destiny being forged by your daily decisions, your daily disciplines, your moment-to-moment integrity. These symbols appear to those who are meant to walk the narrow path, not of superiority, but of service and self-mastery. To carry such a sign is to be invited into a life of inner refinement. It is a responsibility to see more clearly, to act more consciously, and to live more purposefully than ever before. These signs are not rewards for what you've done. They are reminders of what you must become. The crescent moon is often connected with the power of the unseen, with the wisdom of silence, the intelligence of stillness, and the clarity that comes only when the noise of the world has been quieted within. To possess this mark is to be called into deeper listening, not just to the voices of others, but to the whisper of your own spirit, your breath, and your intuition. Likewise, the M is a commandment to bring harmony between the faculties of mind, emotion, and action. It asks you to integrate what you think, what you feel, and how you move in the world. If your thoughts say one thing, your emotions feel another, and your actions contradict them both, there is no mastery. There is only confusion. But when the head, the heart, and the hand move as one, when your intentions are aligned with your values and embodied through consistent action, then you become something rare, an integrated human being. That is the path this sign points toward. That is the standard it demands. So this is not a time to boast or seek approval. It is a time to reflect. It is a time to sharpen your awareness like a blade and to walk the path of transformation with humble persistence. You are being asked not to wear this mark like a badge, but to let it change the way you breathe, the way you observe, the way you choose your words, and the way you shape your days. The sign does not guarantee greatness. It reveals potential, and it is up to you to turn that potential into presence, into power, into peace. This is a divine responsibility, not to impress others, but to become the clearest version of yourself, not loud, not proud, but unshakable. You are not here to chase approval. You are here to chase alignment. Let the crescent moon be your symbol of inward illumination. Let the M remind you of the sacred task of self-mastery. And let every day be your answer to the question, will you live up to the sign you've been given? Transformation is not a moment. It is not a ceremony, a sudden spark, or a magical event that happens while you wait. It is a process, quiet, slow, invisible at first, and rooted deep within. The world teaches you to measure progress by what others can see, by applause, by recognition, by numbers on a screen or achievements on a wall. But true transformation has nothing to do with those things. It does not scream for attention. It does not need confirmation from others. It is built in the hidden hours, in the choices you make when no one is watching, and in the way you learn to discipline your own mind, body, and spirit. Real change does not start with the outside world. It begins with the breath, with how present you are in this moment, and with how deeply you are willing to take responsibility for your own evolution. Discipline is the structure that holds your transformation together. It is the force that keeps you grounded when emotions shift, when motivation fades, when the mind wants to escape and the body wants to quit. Discipline is not harshness. It is a sacred commitment to show up, not when it's convenient, not when it feels good, but because you've chosen a higher standard for yourself. This discipline is what allows awareness to grow. Without it, awareness becomes scattered, shallow, and reactionary. But when you practice daily presence, when you sit with your breath, when you rise with purpose, when you move with intention, the discipline sharpens you, and you begin to see more clearly, not just the world around you, but the truth of who you are within it. This inner transformation is built through simple practices, repeated daily. Through the breath, you learn to anchor yourself in the now. Breath is not just air moving in and out. It is life itself reminding you to return, to let go, to be. Movement trains the body to become an extension of the mind. When you move with purpose, whether through walking, martial practice, or quiet posture, you align the physical with the mental and spiritual. Nutrition becomes a form of sacred fuel. You begin to realize that what you consume is not just about taste or hunger, but about clarity, energy, and vitality. When you eat with intention, when you feed yourself with the things that nourish rather than numb, your entire system begins to wake up. Silence becomes your companion. In a world that is loud and restless, silence is a discipline in itself. To sit with no need to speak, no need to respond, and no urge to escape is to return to your center. In silence, you meet your fears, your doubts, and your truth. Silence is not emptiness. It is fullness without noise, and in that silence, presence grows. Presence is the outcome of all these practices. It is the state of being fully awake, fully alive, and fully here. It is the ability to listen without reacting, to act without impulse, to choose with clarity instead of compulsion. None of this can be achieved through shortcuts. It cannot be faked or forced. It must be earned, and it is earned in the ordinary moments that you decide to live consciously. Transformation is not about proving anything to others. It is about refining yourself from the inside out. It is about stripping away what is false and strengthening what is true. You do not need permission to begin. You do not need an audience to evolve. All you need is the willingness to practice, breath by breath, step by step, day by day. True transformation is not a performance. It is a private victory, repeated until it becomes your natural state of being. There is a deep misconception in the modern world that intuition is a gift you either have or don't have, that mastery is a talent someone is born with, and that both arise effortlessly like sparks in the dark. But real intuition and authentic mastery are not accidents of fate. They are the outcomes of deep cultivation, built from a foundation of inner stillness and relentless self-discipline. You do not stumble into clarity. You arrive at it by quieting the mind over time. You do not drift into mastery. You walk toward it step by step, even when no one sees your progress. Intuition is not a reaction to a feeling, and mastery is not the result of a single moment of brilliance. Both are forged from 1,000 invisible decisions, repeated in solitude and refined in silence. Most people confuse intuition with emotion. They believe that a sudden urge, a strong feeling, or a wave of excitement is their inner wisdom speaking. But feelings are not always truth. They are waves, temporary, reactive, and often shaped by fear, desire, or memory. Intuition is something entirely different. It emerges when the mind is calm, when the noise is gone, and when the ego has stopped demanding attention. Intuition is not loud, it whispers, it offers guidance with stillness, not noise. You can only hear it when you are deeply rooted in presence, when your awareness has become still like a lake with no ripples. If your mind is constantly chasing, doubting, or reacting, you cannot hear the subtle voice of true intuition. It takes training to separate the voice of impulse from the voice of insight. This training begins with stillness. Stillness is not inactivity. It is not laziness. It is focused calmness, a state of readiness, a deep listening, a space where you can begin to see without distortion. When you practice silence, when you discipline your body to sit without moving, when you breathe with full awareness, you sharpen your perception. This is where intuition is born, not in the storm, but in the still eye at the center of it. When you cultivate this inner silence daily, intuition starts to become clear. You begin to know what to do, not because you're guessing or reacting, but because you've developed the inner space to truly listen. Mastery is no different. It does not arrive suddenly. It is not a reward for inspiration. It is a product of structure, consistency, and humility. To become a master in anything, your craft, your thoughts, your discipline, you must be willing to practice without reward, to improve without recognition, and to correct yourself without resentment. Mastery is built in the moments when you don't feel like showing up, but do it anyway. It is built when you take the smallest of actions with the greatest of care. It is built when your standard does not depend on the presence of others, but on your own quiet commitment to do better each day. There is no magic shortcut to mastery. No book, no teaching, no mentor can bypass the inner work. They can point the way, but you must walk it. You must train your breath to calm your mind. You must train your body to be an ally of your will. You must train your focus so it does not wander. You must repeat the form until it becomes formless. Then, what once required effort becomes natural. What once needed reminders becomes automatic. That is the silent dignity of mastery. Not to show off, but to carry yourself with the weight of unseen discipline. It does not shine like fire. It glows like a steady ember that never dies. Both intuition and mastery are internal states, cultivated through repetition, presence, and silence. If you wish to possess them, you must earn them, not through emotion, not through desire, but through stillness and self-discipline. And once you do, the world will change. Not because it has, but because you have. To live as an example is to walk a path so true, so grounded, that your very presence speaks louder than your words ever could. It is to let your actions become your message, and your daily discipline become your testimony. This is not done for applause, not for followers, not for validation, but for the integrity of the path itself. When a person discovers markings such as the crescent moon or the M on their palm, the mistake is to treat them as badges of superiority or divine exception. But these are not decorations for the ego. They are reminders of responsibility. They are subtle invitations to align your life with the energy they represent. And that alignment begins not in what you say to others, but in how you carry yourself through life. The true power behind any symbol is not in being seen, but in being lived. To carry a divine sign on your body means nothing if your behavior contradicts the meaning of that sign. What matters is whether your life reflects balance, patience, strength, humility, and service. These are not dramatic traits. They do not shout. They do not demand attention. Instead, they radiate silently. A person who has cultivated themselves deeply may enter a room and say nothing, yet their presence shifts the atmosphere. Why? Because their actions, their discipline, their way of being is in harmony with something higher. They have become an example, not because they tried to be one, but because they live the truth of what they know without needing others to notice. To live as an example means to live in service to something greater than your own image. It means you no longer move according to whether or not people are watching. You practice your discipline when no one sees. You refine your behavior when there is no reward. You commit to honesty even when it is inconvenient. You stay silent when pride wants to speak. This is the path of true embodiment. The symbols on your palm become real not because you flaunt them, but because you become them. You are no longer speaking about energy. You are the energy. You are no longer talking about purpose. You are walking in it. And this quiet authenticity becomes your greatest gift to the world. People today are addicted to being seen. They want their growth documented, their discipline praised, their transformation celebrated, but the deepest form of power moves invisibly. It does not seek an audience. It does not require validation. In fact, the more real your growth becomes, the less you care who notices. You begin to understand that life itself is watching, that your soul is the only witness that truly matters. And so, you shift your focus from showing others your progress to embodying it so completely that you no longer need to say a word. That is when your example becomes powerful, because it is pure, because it is not about influence. It is about integrity. This kind of living affects others more deeply than any performance ever could. Someone watching you from a distance may be moved to change, not because you told them to, but because your example made them feel what was possible. This is the sacred influence of true embodiment. It transforms others without effort. It teaches without speaking, and it leaves an impression that lasts longer than any speech or display. It is not about being perfect. It is about being real. It is about falling down and getting up with grace. It is about being consistent in private, humble in success, and grounded in difficulty. So, if you bear the marks of a deeper calling, whether it is in your palm, your mind, or your spirit, remember that the only way to honor them is to live them, not for recognition, not for fame, not to impress or convince, but because you have chosen to live with purpose. Let others talk, let others look, let others chase attention. You walk, you breathe, you move with quiet power, because the truth needs no spotlight. It only needs to be lived. In the end, the signs you carry, whether etched upon your palm or whispered in the quiet moments of your soul, are not there to glorify you, but to awaken you. They are not declarations of superiority, but silent reminders that you have work to do within yourself and for the world around you. The crescent moon and the M are not symbols to be flaunted, but responsibilities to be honored. You are not chosen to be admired. You are chosen to embody, to discipline, to elevate. And this elevation is not loud. It is not for show. It happens in the quiet hours, through the repetition of mindful breath, through the strength of unseen choices, through the humility of inner refinement. True power is not attention-seeking. It is energy held within and directed with clarity. If you seek to live aligned with the divine signs you've been given, then begin not by pointing to your hand, but by pointing inward. Train your intuition through stillness. Build your mastery through discipline. Live your life not to be followed, but to be felt. In a world chasing noise, be the silence that speaks. Let your journey be the teaching. Let your actions become the message. Let your life be the prayer, and in doing so, you will discover that the greatest signs are not on your skin, but in who you choose to become. If this message stirred something deep inside you, good, that means you're ready. But this is only the beginning. There is more to uncover, more to master, and more truth to reveal. So stay connected, because what's coming next will take you even deeper into the path you were born to walk. Turn on notifications, keep your eyes open, and be ready, because the next video might just be the one that changes everything.